Good day, my name is Raniel J. Bagyo, second year BS Criminology, and in this video, I will be explaining what parole is. So parole is a word of honor and privilege, and it also refers to the conditional release of an offender from a correctional institution after he had served the maximum of his prison sentence. So, parole is given by Board of Pardons and Parole, or BPP. So what is Board of Pardons and Parole, or BPP? BPP releases prisoner on parole and recommends the grant of presidential pardons, and the Parole and Probation Administration supervises the rehabilitation of parolees as well as probation. So, it is said that parole is a conditional release. So, when you're granted a parole, there will be conditions that will be given to you. So, what are these conditions? First is bail or multa. Second is maintain employment and residence. Third is refrain from drug and sometimes alcohol use. Fourth is avoid any criminal activity and contact with any victim. Fifth is attend drug or alcohol recovery meetings. So this means the parolee should attend drug or any alcohol rehabilitation programs. Sixth is not leave a specified geographic area without permission from the parole officer. So the parolee is not allowed to leave a specific place where he was put in without the permission from his parole officer. Seventh is report to parole officer within 72 hours of the release. So, an offender is only eligible for parole if the offender have served 4 years, 2 months, and 1 day. So, what is this 4 years, 2 months, and 1 day? This is the maximum sentence term in prison correctional, suspension, and stereo or banishment. So, a offender is not eligible for parole if that offender convicted of first degree. For example, murder, kidnapping, rape, and drug trafficking. Parole can also be disqualified. So, what are the disqualifications for parole? First is sentence of imprisonment is 1 year or less, or straight penalty. Straight penalty, this is under special law if the penalty of the offense is less than 6 months but not more than 3 years. Second is those convicted, that is punishable with death penalty or reclusion perpetua, that has a sentence of 20 years, 1 day to 40 years. And this can also be called as life imprisonment. Third is those convicted of treason means betraying one's country, conspiracy, proposal to commit treason, or espionage. So espionage means obtaining confidential information relating to national defense. Fourth is those convicted of impression of treason, rebellion, sedition, and coup d'etat. So coup d'etat means it is an illegal seizure of power by a political faction, rebel group, military, or a dictator. Example of this is the 1989 Philippine coup attempt. Fifth is those convicted of piracy or mutiny on the high seas of the Philippine water. Sixth is those who are suffering from mental disorder and as certified by a government psychiatrist or psychologist. Seventh is those who have pending criminal cases. So questions is, who grants parole? So it is said that Board of Pardons grants pardons and parole grants parole. When can a prisoner grant for parole? whenever the BPP finds a reasonable probability to release a person. So, what refers to the prisoner released from parole? It is called parole. And who supervises the parole? It is the parole officer. So, what happens if a parole violates the condition of the parole? The parolee will be arrested and put into prison to serve the unexpired portion of the parolee's maximum sentence. So, how long does the process of parole? It is said that 21 days for the offender to receive a notice of action. So that is all. But always remember that parole is an act of privilege, not act of rights.